How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 ways you can protect yourself from lightning in Don't Starve Together. So to get started with, you're probably pretty familiar with lightning and that it can strike you, which will cause damage to the player. Now, obviously, you want to mitigate these factors, primarily for the damage, but also because if the lightning strikes nearby objects, it can start them on fire as well. So it's a mutual benefit to both the player and the environment to find some way of mitigating the risks of lightning. Now, they're not all going to be perfect, but there are some things you can do, and I have a list of 5 of them here. So obviously, we're going to start off with the most common, the most popular solution to this problem, and that is to install lightning rod. Now, a lightning rod is really great because its costs are reasonable and it pulls in any lightning strike within its own radius, which guarantees that providing you're within the radius of the lightning rod, you can pretty much rest assured that nothing will start on fire due to lightning. So that is probably the best option. And here is a small demonstration for those who haven't had the pleasure. Unfortunately, not all options are quite as simple, and given the fact that as a player you're likely going to be moving around the map, you're not always going to have a lightning rod with you or want to put one down anytime a storm pops up. So let's take a look at some of the alternatives here. In the first chest we have the umbrella. Now the umbrella is pretty well known because it's usually the headgear of choice when it comes to preventing wetness, but some people might not know that it also prevents you from getting struck by lightning. So we're going to tear down the lightning rod, and I'm going to demonstrate here that while the lightning can strike other structures and obstacles, the player will never take damage from the lightning. Well, that was an unmitigated catastrophe. But let's try again. So there, you just saw Wilson say safe from the lightning. Safe from that frightening lightning. Whenever Wilson says that, you know that whatever he was wearing protected you from getting struck by lightning. So that's the way you can tell that this clothing item works to protect you from the lightning. There are other clothing items that can do the same though, in addition to the umbrella, because the umbrella is a little bit of an exotic item. You're only going to get one once per year, so if you're playing on a server with multiple people, you're probably going to have to settle for something a little bit less optimal during the rainy season, the spring. So we have the rain hat. Now the rain hat isn't as effective nearly as the umbrella. However, it also prevents you from getting struck by lightning, much like the umbrella does, and its costs are reasonably low. So we're going to be, spawning in some lightning here, same thing as before. And you'll notice, once again, you see Wilson was about to get struck by the lightning, and because of his hat, he was safe from it. Just to reiterate, this is what will happen. This is what will happen if you get struck by lightning without the rain hat on, right? Or without any form of protective clothing. The fourth item that we have is the raincoat. So the raincoat is ultimately a better version of a rain hat. If you have the option between a rain hat and a raincoat, unless you actually need the chest slot for something else, you're probably going to want to use the raincoat. However, the raincoat's a little bit more expensive and a little bit harder to get access to, so in terms of convenience, the rain hat is a suitable compromise. However, the raincoat is just as effective at stopping the lightning from hitting Wilson as the rain hat and the umbrella is. So all good around there. Lastly, and this is a little bit of a surprise, and it is definitely one of the more strange alternatives here, the Volt Goat. So I just threw one down, and the thing about the Volt Goat is while they do run away from the player in Don't Starve Together, that's not true in single player Don't Starve, they act as a form of antenna. So if we bring in some lightning again, it will always hit the Volt Goat. No matter how charged the Volt Goat is, if you have a Volt Goat in your area during a lightning storm, you can be sure the lightning will hit it, much like it would a lightning rod, which can be pretty useful if you find yourself out and about and you don't have a lightning rod, but there is a useful herd of goats, Volt Goats around. The downside to this is that they become extremely aggressive when hit by lightning, so if you're not prepared, you probably should watch out because they could target you next, and they're quite persistent once they do target you. But you can be assured that while there is a Volt Goat in the vicinity, at least the lightning is not going to be burning anything important down, which can't be said for the clothing items such as the raincoat, the rain hat, and of course the umbrella. So those are the 5 items in Don't Starve Together that you can use to protect yourself from lightning and in some cases protect the environment around you. I hope you found this list useful or at the very least a bit interesting. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time.